Shalom, Shabbat Shalom rather. Welcome to my testimony video of how I came to know the name of Yahuwah and his son Yahusha, and to know that Torah is very much still in effect. So my name is Khalil, I'm 20 years old, and it was placed upon my heart to make a testimony video to explain who I am and my walk with the Father and how I even got to this point. So I guess I'll start off like this. Like most people who are called out by the Father, you can testify that you always have felt different, or you've always felt like you have more to offer in the world. And that's how I felt ever since a little boy. I didn't really think I was better than anybody, but I did feel special for some reason, and I never really understood why, of course. But yeah, I grew up as a Christian. My family, we were never really heavily in the church by any means, but we would definitely go to church every once in a while. You already know you'd have to make it for every Easter. Like, that was the one time we went, was almost every Easter. You're gonna have to forgive me, the sun is beaming, it's pretty warm, so might be sweating a lot. But yeah, I grew up with the belief of God, but it was never instilled into me that much. I never doubted him, but I just didn't know him for myself. So with that being said, you know, I grew up a regular worldly lifestyle, you know. Forgive the noise, by the way. I was raised in a pretty good household, you know. We didn't have the most, but we didn't have the littlest either. You know, we were in between, you know, not too poor, not too wealthy. But you know, the Most High took care of us and we got by. And I was really just raised well with, you know, respect and manners, and that you're supposed to treat people, you know, the way that you want to be treated. So that's how I live my life. And I remember the very first thing that, like, spiritually that happened with me was when I was 8 years old. I remember coming home from school at 8 years old, and I got on YouTube and I was watching like gaming videos as a little boy. I was like in second or third grade, and I was on YouTube and I saw a video, and the title of it was like, your favorite the title was your favorite celebrity sold their soul to the devil, Illuminati exposed, or something along those lines. So, you know, I saw like a thumbnail of like Jay-Z and Beyonce, or all these, you know, sellouts, and I saw like it's like Illuminati all-seeing eye, and it just clicked. Like, it took my interest. Like, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna click this video. And I only watched like 3 minutes of it because it was scary. They had like this dark, ominous music playing in the background, and of course they were showing like the song lyrics of all the people that, like, you know, were worshiping the devil, talking about how they sold their soul and how they did all these things. And I saw all the hidden symbolism, you know, with the all-seeing eye, the triangles, and I got really like scared, not gonna lie. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, I don't know what this is about, but whatever this is, like, I just felt darkness. Forgive the noise, I'm sorry. I just felt darkness, you know. So the Illuminati never left my mind. After that, I never like not thought about it. So as I got older, of course, I started to learn more about it, and I started to do my own research, and I started to see how the Illuminati was a very real thing, a very real secret society that people joined, and if you joined it, you were able to amass, you know, fame and fortune. So I would go to school and I would be like asking my friends, you know, have you ever heard about the Illuminati, or have you ever, you know, seen about it? And, you know, I would hear people saying, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. Then some people would be like, oh, you know, yeah, who cares, you know? So at a very young age, I was able to see that there was people that could like see, you know, spiritually, and then there's people who just would write it off. It wouldn't like really resonate with them. So that led to me wanting to go out of my way to research and learn about things that no one really cared to learn about, which the Illuminati was one of them, at least where I was growing up around. So throughout like middle school to early high school, I became a conspiracy theorist, and I would literally go and watch so many videos and research so many things about UFOs and Bigfoot and all these different things. And like in school, people would literally know me as the conspiracy theorist, you know, like people would know that I was into that type of stuff. So by the time I get to high school, you know, about in high school, I'm smoking weed in high school. I'm not too far. Oh my gosh. Of course somebody's cutting grass, but just forgive the noise. But I'm smoking. So like I was saying, in high school, that was when I started to, you know, indulge in more sins. And you know, I wasn't the like most wickedest person by any means, but I definitely was starting to veer into it. But I say that to say that I had a lot of strongholds over me and generational curses over me at a young age without realizing it. Like I came to find out that one of my great grandfathers was a Freemason, so there's automatically one generational curse over my life. And then I was introduced to sexual morality at a very young age, learned about pornography very young, all that. So it really took away my innocence and just consumed me at a young age. But you know, it could have been way worse. So praise YAH for keeping me, you know what I mean? But so I'm about in my sophomore year of high school, and I have this friend. I won't say her name, but we're still friends to this day. And she comes to me and she asks me if I have ever heard about the flat earth theory before. And I was like, nah, what is that? Like, what is the flat earth theory? So she told me that it's just a belief or whatever that the earth is stationary and that it doesn't have any curvature to it. So, you know, she told me because she knows that I'm into conspiracy theories, but I had never heard about that one. So I didn't really think much of it at the time. I was like, okay, So we're on winter break, and this is like the end of 2017. I'm 15 turning 16 at the time. So I'm bored at the house. It's snow on the ground, it's cold, so I can't really leave the house. So I'm like, you know what, let me research this flat earth stuff and, you know, see what it's about. Now, mind you, back in the day, censorship was not as bad as it is now, so you could actually look up these types of things and you would get good results and not, you know, not lies, so to speak. But I looked it up, and to my surprise, like, this was a very real and like big topic of discussion. So I was like, dang, I'm getting a lot of search results. So, you know, I start watching some videos, and one of the guys that I first found out about the flat earth was Rob Skiba. Rest his heart, he actually passed away, I believe last year, but he's definitely in paradise, so praise YAH for that. But Rob Skiba taught me a lot about the flat earth, and he provided like physical experiments that proved that the earth was flat and stationary, that there was no curvature, and that water, you know, always found its level. And he was like debunking all of the lies that we have inherited through, you know, the school system, educational system. So I'm getting my mind blown away. I'm like, bro, like, every ancient civilization believed in a flat earth, closed cosmology. You know, it wasn't until like the 15 or 1600s where they actually changed the general thought of how the earth and how, you know, cosmology is. So I was like low-key losing my mind. I'm like, bro, like, the flat earth could very well be real, you know what I mean? At this point, like, I'm like, this might be true. So that led to me, you know, getting addicted to it, because, you know, I've always been, ever since I learned about the Illuminati and stuff, I've been a very avid researcher. I have to really look into something before I can believe it. So I'm getting addicted to it. I'm like, bro, like, this might be true, you know? So I'm 16 at the time now, and I look it up again, and we're still on winter break, so school is not in session. And I look it up this one day, and I remember seeing a video by Parable of the Vineyard, who I don't watch anymore, but he made a video, and the title was like Flat Earth in the Bible. So I watched it. I'm like, what? Like, flat earth in the Bible? Like, that's crazy. So I clicked it, and the very first verse that he showed was Genesis chapter 1, verse 6 or 7, I believe. The verse that says, "And God made the firmament to separate the waters from the waters." So I watched that mug, and bro, when I saw that verse, my heart dropped, and I hit my knees, and I started crying. And that was the very first time I felt what I knew to be the Holy Spirit at the time, the YAHUAH. I felt the Spirit become so powerful over me, and I got emotional, and I was like, yo, like, this verse proves everything that I've been learning, like, physically, about how the flat earth works. So you're telling me that the Bible agrees with that? So I was like, yo, like, God is real, the Bible is real, this is crazy. So I hit my knees and I started praying to God, and I'm like, God, I know for a fact you're real now, and I know that the Bible is real as well. And I asked for wisdom and knowledge to be able to understand the Bible and know who he was, and I wanted to actually have a relationship with him. And he revealed himself to me, and I heard the Spirit speaking to me, and he was just basically saying, like, yes, what you're seeing right now is true, and I'm showing you this for a reason. So I was just like, bro, like, everything I know is a lie. Like, literally every single thing I know about life is not true. So I'm shaken up. I'm like, man, this is too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm 16, bro. Like, I'm only 16 learning about all this truth. So I prayed, and I remember, like, the next day I looked up, how to read the Bible, or, the Bible explained, or who is God. I just started watching all these videos, and one of the very first YouTube channels I found to learn about the Most High was Truth Unedited. And I know all y'all know who Truth Unedited is by this point. Truth Unedited, I was watching his History of Religion series, and I was just binge watching all his videos, and I was getting this, like, the joy and the happiness and the excitement that I was gaining from watching these videos and learning about the Bible and reading the Bible, I had not ever experienced before. And it was more fun than smoking. It was more fun than hanging out with my friends. It was better than anything I had experienced. And I'm like, bro, this is fire. Like, this is what I want to dedicate my life to. Like, this is what's up. So, school starts back up. And literally, by the end of break, I'm a whole new man. Literally a whole new person. I think the earth is flat. I got a belief in the Most High now. So it's crazy. So forgive the noise. So early on in my walk, at 16 years old, I learned that there are things that Christians do and partake in and believe that are not biblical. So I had ended up learning that Christmas and Easter and all the holidays, for that matter, have nothing to do with the Bible, and they all are pagan, and they all are evil. And on top of that, I believe that the earth is flat, and no other Christian believed that. Whenever I would go to youth groups and go to talk to different pastors and my friends, I would tell them about it and show them the verses, because there's hundreds of verses that talk about the flat earth. And they would look at me like I'm crazy, like I don't know how to read the Bible, or that I can't comprehend it. So I used to get upset. I'm like, bro, what you mean? Like, you the one who not reading the Bible right. Like, it's plain as day, So that was when I knew that something was off about Christianity. I didn't know everything at the time, but I'm telling you, throughout high school, through 16, 17, 18 years old, I'm very, like, wishy-washy on Christianity. I didn't even want to call myself a Christian, because I knew that most Christians weren't actually living the Bible out. They were not actually, trying to live a righteous lifestyle. They were, the once saved, always saved, I can go out and sin as much as I want, and then come Sunday, go to church, and, I can be forgiven for it. And I saw straight through that. I'm like, no, that's not how we're supposed to worship our Father. So, I felt different. I'm like, bro, why can I not, like, why don't I seem to fit in Christianity? Like, why don't they accept me? And of course I came to find out why, but it was just a lot. And throughout my first spiritual awakening with the flat earth and the Most High, from the rest of my high school career, I was so lukewarm, like off and on, hot and cold, so many times where I would have seasons where I wanted to seek the Most High, and then I would have other seasons when I didn't. And I used to preach and, like, go hard on my Snapchat and my Instagram about the Most High, and, like, y'all, like, this is the truth. And they would all think they would think that I'm crazy. They'd be like, bro, like this same dude Khalil who be smoking, who be partying, who be talking to chicks, you know, all this stuff. Now he talking about, you know, following the Bible and all this. And what made it worse is that I was so hypocritical. Like I said, I would be off and on. I would literally pick and choose when I wanted to live righteously. So that really ruined my reputation as far as who I was in school. And after a while, I'm like, dang, like, who am I even? Like, I don't even know who I want to be. I don't even know who I really am. And, you know, it was hard. You know, you know, trying to live a righteous lifestyle for the Most High in high school is so difficult because you have so many temptations. You have so many avenues that you can go in. And I was weak. I'll admit it. I backslid time and time again. And then I would come back crying to the Most High, asking for forgiveness. And that was throughout my whole high school career. Excuse me. So I was lost. I didn't really know where to go with my walk. But it was in 2019. I had this friend named, I won't say his name, but I have this homie. And he told me that he had these friends that believed that the earth is flat, and they believed that the holidays are pagan. But they didn't use they didn't use God or Jesus. They didn't use those names, those titles. And, you know, like, I was like, that's interesting, because I don't know anybody that believes that the earth is flat and that the holidays are pagan besides the people that I told. You know what I mean? I woke up my friends, my close friends, but besides them, I didn't know anybody who thought the same things as me. So I'm like, that's fire. Like, we got to talk to them. I got to meet them. I got to figure out what they know so we can come to some common understanding, because this is the truth. You know, we're truth seekers at the end of the day. So it was May of 2020, the powerful prophetic year of 2020, when I met these gentlemen. And I remember I had a cross necklace on at the time, and I go up to them, right? And the first thing they say is, take that mug off, take that cross off. So I'm like, dang, like, all right, I take it off, but I hope you're going to explain yourself. So I take it off. And then, bro, that day was my second spiritual awakening. That was the day when I learned about the Father's name, YAHUAH, and his son, Yahusha. And I learned the power behind it. And they told me what it meant. And when I first heard the name YAHUAH, it was so powerful to me. Like, I was like, this is fire. Like, I can just feel the power in it. And I'm like, I'm back. I had to change settings. It was just too hot outside. I'm at work right now. But like I said, I heard the name YAHUAH, and he told me the what it meant. Like, I am, I was, and I will be. And I was like, that's beautiful. Like, you don't get that same understanding. You don't get that same revelation when you say God and Lord. You know what I mean? And then Yahusha, I am your deliverer. I am your salvation. And when they told me that, I'm like, it made me instantly think about that verse in Matthew that talks about, I come in my Father's name and you receive me not, but if another come in his name, you shall receive him. So I'm like, he literally came in his Father's name. Like, they both have the same name. So I'm mind blown right now. Like, I didn't know what they were telling me to be true for myself, because I hadn't done the research, but everything that they were telling me, it just felt like it was the truth. Like, I did not believe them. I believed them just based off what they were telling me. And then they started to expose Christianity, like the origins of it, the part of Christianity that I had never known about how, you know, it's just an offshoot of the Roman Catholic Church, and they literally mixed in paganisms with, you know, our history book, our truth. So I was like, bro, I knew Christianity was fake. Like, I knew it was evil. Like, I knew something about it. So then they start telling me about the Israelites, and they had me read Deuteronomy chapter 28. So I read it, and, you know, of course, in Christianity, you don't really read the Old Testament. Like, I had never read the book of Deuteronomy before. So I was like, all right. So I read Deuteronomy 28, and they asked me, based off these curses, what group of people, what group or race or nationality of people do all these curses apply to in the world? So I read them all, and I'm like, like, I mean, this kind of sound like black people. You know what I mean? That's what I told them. And they was like, yeah. You know what I mean? They were like, yeah, exactly. So I'm like, what you mean? Like, what is this trying to say? So then they was like, Ak. And they kept calling me Ak. And I'm like, what does Ak mean? Like, what are you saying? Because I didn't know the Hebrew words at the time. So they said, Ak, we are the true Hebrew, the biblical Israelites. We are the descendants of the Israelites. So when they told me that, I just felt the power again. I'm like, yo, like, really? Like, for real? And when they told me that, it all made, like, it just all, like, made more sense to me in my mind. And I'm like, this is why I've always felt special. Like, this is why I've always felt different. It's because I'm not only the descendants of the people we read about in our Bible, but I've just been called out. I've been called out to learn this stuff. So that night, I just left so happy because I just felt like I felt like I figured out the full truth finally. Like, I had been searching for so long, you know, lost in Christianity. And when I learned all this, it all started to make more sense. So of course, you know, me, I have to do my own research and I have to like really get into the nitty gritty to know the truth for myself. So I started doing more research. You know, I'm finding all these Hebrew channels like Watchmen Reports, and you know all these, you know, all the ones we know. I started finding out about them, and you know, I'm like, yo, like this is real, like this is true, like this is the real truth, and this is not religion. It's not about religion. It's about culture. It's about heritage. This is just the true way of life. Like it's always about, you know, keeping the Torah, keeping the commandments, and you know, we don't learn that in Christianity. So this was in 2020, which was the year that we would wake up prophetically. Of course, people woke up before that year, but it was a large group of people woke up in 2020. So from the year of 2020 to 2022, I had the same process of learning the truth and still backsliding, still going back into my sin, you know, and it was terrible because I just would make these empty promises to YAH and just tell him, you know, like, I'm done living this lifestyle. You know, I want to live for you. My heart is for you now. And they were all empty. They were all vain. I couldn't live up to them. And I would just continually go back to my own vomit, you know, like the dog goes into the vomit in the book of Proverbs, I believe. And I just felt strong conviction. And I was going good from like November of 2020 to about February of 2022, and I was lost. I didn't feel his ruach. I didn't feel his presence. I was learning and reading, and it was becoming a habitual practice to me, but I didn't feel like I was being fed. And I didn't realize this at the time, but the reason I didn't feel his spirit is because I was learning from too many different people. I was feeding from too many different tables, getting all these mixed, twisted doctrines, you know. I was seeing all the names like YAHUAH, 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 like so many. And then, you know, Yahusha, Yahya, Yeshaya, all these different names. I'm like, bro, what is the right name? Like, I don't know what the right name is. So that was confusing. I started to get into the flee doctrine, like, oh, we all got to go back to Africa. Yah is going to protect us in Africa. And I was like, bro, how am I going to get to Africa? I'm only, I'm only 19. Like, so it was like a lot going on, bro. And I ended up giving up. Like, I remember in February, I backslid into a sin. And for me, the major thing about me is when I commit a huge sin, the demons and the devil, they like get to me. And then they basically convince me that, hey, you've messed up. You told Yah you weren't going to commit these sins again. So because you did, you're done for. And it really broke my heart to know that I had let Yah down again, and I committed a horrible sin. And I just fell back completely, nosedive into sin. I was doing things that I had never done before in my sin. And that lasted for about 7 or 8 months. And it was the most depressed I had ever been. I was taking a lot of drugs at the time, just smoking all day, every day. I couldn't go a day without smoking. I had started to do shrooms. I had even done Molly one night. That was Anyways, so I'm opening up so many spiritual demonic doorways, and I'm only getting further and further and further away from YAH. But every single day, I could not think about YAH. Like every single day, I would ask myself, am I going to hell? Is this over for me? Every single day I would ask if YAH still loves me, if he still cares about me. So even though I was in my folly, even though I was in iniquity, so, you know, it was even worse for me because I knew full well what I was doing. I knew that I was breaking his commandments every day. I knew that I was just boggling myself down with more demons and just more sins. And, you know, there's no excuses. Like, I knew exactly what I was doing. And I had brothers and sisters that knew about YAH as well and that knew the Torah. And we would be sitting together, and we would, from time to time, we would talk about YAH like, man, I hope we can get it together. I hope we can come back. I hope YAH, I hope this isn't the end. You know, we would talk about it almost all the time. So we knew that we were lost. And, you know, it was bad. It was really bad. And it wasn't until the August of 2021 where something in me was like, nah, I don't want to go to hell. This ain't for me. I'm done living this life. I'm depressed. I hate myself. I don't know how to love myself. It was just too bad, and I didn't want it anymore. I was done. I was fed up with it. So I started to distance myself from my friends. I started to distance myself from smoking. I started to really discipline myself to focus on YAH and start to read my Bible again and start to just get the word in me again so that I can grow from this. And eventually, after a while, I started to grow. Like, I felt his presence again. And I was like, man, like, this is what I've been missing out on. Like, what am I doing? Like, this is stupid. I should have been on this path from the jump. I should have never left. And I started to feel good about myself. And I was like, you know what? I can get this together. You know, I can live my life for YAH. And that was around the time where I met a strong man of YAH, my elder, who YAH sent into my life to help guide me and teach me in how to live my life for him, for YAH. And that helped me tremendously. And I started to just meet a lot of new brothers and sisters in the faith. And I was going good, man. I was happy. I was going months and months without any woeful sin. You know, I had hiccups, but I was doing good for the most part. And I was like, bro, this is it. Like, I'm doing good. But I will say this. Towards the end of my journey with YAH, it was around like October, November, December of, more like November, December of 2021. I was having identity crisis issues. You know, I would have these moments and these phases where I would like become really depressed, and I would just like have a pity party and just be in my own despair and like a pit of sorrow, and I would just feel bad for myself, and I would like cut off my siblings and Mashiach. I would cut off my brothers and sisters to just loathe in my darkness. And you know, if you don't cut the sin off, as soon as it starts to show itself, it's going to fester and just grow in you. And you know, that emotion, you know, the demons, the evil spirits can get into us through emotions. So because I wasn't rebuking these evil thoughts and emotions, and because I just wasn't pleased with myself, that they were having access to my life. So I didn't even realize it at the time, but I was literally growing further and further away from YAH during this time. And you know, I ended up, I hate to say it, like I really do, but I ended up backsliding again at the end of last year. And it was terrible. It was terrible. You know, I thought I had got it. You know, I thought that I was never going to go back to sin again. I thought that I was going to literally live the rest of my life out for YAH at this point. And No, because when you abandon Yah and when you start to live for yourself, that pride gets in, and you think you can do it all by yourself, you know. So when you abandon Yah, you of course you abandon people of Yah, because you know that you are not living righteously. So therefore you gain conviction when you speak to them. You don't even want to be around their presence, because you know their good ruach is convicting you of the evil spirits around you. So I ended up ghosting a sister of mine, and we ended up like completely stopped talking, and it hurt me a lot because I knew that that wasn't the right thing to do. It wasn't the right thing to do, and I knew that I was hurting my sister, because you know I had told her that you know we would stay strong and we would encourage each other, but I just out of nowhere disappeared. You know, just disappeared. I left one of my close brothers, and it hurt because I knew what I was doing. You know, like I knew that this would most likely ruin the relationship that I had with them, and you know I fell back into sin so much. I'm talking smoking again, sexual morality again, parties again, just you name it. I was doing it all, just losing myself. And at this time, I really thought that I was going to hell. I really thought that I was going to the pit and that it would be over for me. And it's just, I was in such a dark place, you know, such a dark place, and I hated myself. Like I hated waking up every day because I knew that I was a disgrace. I knew that I was not living up to my potential. And the thing is, I knew that I had a calling over my life because Yah never let me be comfortable in my sin. Every time I would backslide into my sin, I would get instantly depressed. I wouldn't find joy. You know, I would go out sinning, but there was no real joy in it. It was only temporary satisfaction. Like I would be in the midst of sinning, but at the back of my head, oh yeah, please, this is not who I want to be. Like this is not it, you know, just that's how I would be. And, you know, I was literally being a hypocrite. You know, I was everything. I literally was like, who am I? Like I'm over here talking to people about Yah, but I'm not even living for Yah. And it was terrible. It was truly terrible. And you know, I was just looking at the signs of the times and just seeing like, wow, like we're very close to the end. Like I'm over here living wickedly and for myself when I could die tomorrow. You know, I could die next week and I would have no idea. And I just didn't want to have to suffer a greater judgment or a worse suffering because of what I knew, because the Most High judges us based upon what we know. And because I knew fully of what I was doing, and I knew fully of how I was transgressing his commandments, his laws, his instructions, I knew that I would get a way worse punishment than an unbeliever would, because I knew better. You know, I knew better. So it wasn't until April of this year, 2022, where I finally got my stuff together. And I made it a thing to seek Yah harder than I ever had before. You know, I had to do everything it took to show him and to prove to him that this is the lifestyle I wanted to live, and that, you know, I want this. I want this truth. I want Yahusha. I want happiness. I want the fruits of the Ruach. I just didn't want to live in fear, and I didn't want to live in depression every single day. So I did it again. I cut off my friends, or I cut off the world for that matter. I got rid of every and anything that it could be a stumbling block for me, that could be a temptation. I stopped going outside. I, you know, started to fast a lot. I started to read a lot more than I had before. I started to pray and cry out to him, just begging him for his forgiveness. And, you know, for a while, I didn't feel him. I didn't really feel his presence for a while. But he was using people other people in my life, brothers and sisters in Mashiach, to help me continue to go strong and to know that he is there for me. And, you know, after a while, I started to read the word, and I started to see how he would literally speak to me in the moment that I would be reading the word. And I would cry tears of joy because I'm like, he's still with me. He's still here, you know? And I was just so happy. And I was pleased to know that it's not over for me yet, you know? Like, I still had breath in my life. I still had time to get this right. And I would just want the bulk of this testimony to be that it's never too late. I mean, there will come a time where it is too late, but as long as you're breathing still, as long as there are ministers and shepherds that are still preaching the word, as long as there are still people out there trying to get you to repent, that's just proof that you can come back. And, you know, my favorite verse in the Bible is Proverbs 24, verse 16. I don't know it verbatim, but it goes like, you know, the righteous fall 7 times and get back up. And that verse hits me till this day because that was me. You know, like, I had a calling over my life. I was meant for something more. And I fell. I backslid into my sin so many times, but I got back up every single time. Like, every time I backslid, I found my way back to YAH. And, you know, now I got like this determination, this discipline, and this drive and this zeal for him that I have never had before. And I know what's at stake now. I know that, you know, the days are dark and getting only darker, and that I want to be ready to do whatever the Father has for me. You know, I want to be built up to, you know, just listen, to just do what he tells me to do, and to grow in that personal relationship that we all need, you know, to make it into the kingdom. And yeah, it's been a long road. It's been 4 years, from 16 to 20, of me, you know, trying to get this life figured out, how to live a righteous lifestyle, a set apart lifestyle for the Father. And of course, I'm still learning, you know, but it's been a beautiful journey so far, you know. And as much as I hate to admit that I sinned and that I backslid, it literally builds you up and it makes you stronger. It gives you endurance to know, hey, now I know not to do this. Now I know to stay away from this person. Now I know to, you know, whatever the case may be, you learn from your mistakes, and that's what YAH wants. He wants us to grow and learn and to not go back, you know, to not backslide, to not be in willful sin, because there's no sacrifice, you know. Hamashiach died so that we don't willfully sin, you know. Of course, we're going to make mistakes that we're going to sin when we don't even realize it, but that's why he shed his blood for us, so that it's nothing we can do. It's all about him, you know. It's all about him. We have to mold ourselves, and he's the example. He is the vine, we are the branches. We have to model our lives just like he lived his life to the best of our ability. And I'm learning all this, you know, and that's me, you know. And the Father revealed to me my Hebrew name, or my new name for him, and my name now is YAHUAH, YAHUAH, and that means to endure with YAH. And when I first got that name, I was like, wow, YAH, like, this is amazing, because that name speaks to me so much. And you know, the prophets' names, like, everybody's name had a meaning, and it pointed to who they were. It denoted their character. So since my name means to endure with YAH, that's literally what I haven't been doing. Like, I haven't been enduring. So because that's the name that I have, I know for a fact that I'm capable of it and that I can endure. If I just stay on the narrow, ancient path, that I will be able to endure. And, you know, whenever the trials come, or whenever, you know, we get tested or anything, I think about my name, and I think about who YAH wants me to be. And I'm like, I can get through this. Like, it's in my name. I can endure with YAHUAH. He is going to help me throughout every step of the way. We're going to be safe in his wings. We can take refuge in him. He is our provider and our protector. We have to trust in him with everything we got, because he's not going to suffer us to have to go through what the heathen, what the wicked people will have to go through, because we're forsaking everything, including ourselves, to please him. So hallelujah. that's my testimony of how I've came to the Father and how it's been a rough road, but this is not an easy road, and that we will, you know, have to go through a lot of tough and hard things, but it's only building up endurance. It's only building us up to go harder with YAH. Excuse me. So I just pray that this testimony was able to reach someone and to help someone with their journey, and that, you know, I can just help someone. I just want to be a light. And yeah, whoever y'all least to listen to this, I hope that this gave you something, you know. I don't know what exactly, but just something. And if you would like to contact me, my Instagram is in my description or whatever, my bio about me section. So yeah, you can find me there. But praise YAH. I just pray that you continue to grow in your walk is with the Father as well, and that you learn from other people's mistakes and don't have to go through those same mistakes yourself, because you don't have to. It'll save you so much trouble. But praise YAH. Shalom, everybody. Have a blessed rest of your day and life.